It was a quiet Sunday morning on the outskirts of Austin, Texas. The Roadhouse Diner buzzed softly with country music, the smell of bacon and the chatter of travelers. A group of bikers, their leather jackets marked with fiery skulls and club names, filled one corner. They laughed loudly, boasting about their latest road trip and teasing anyone who dared make eye contact. Outside, a pickup truck pulled into the parking lot. The driver's door opened, and a man slowly lifted himself into a wheelchair. His movements were careful but practiced. He wore a worn brown leather jacket, the faded Air Force insignia stitched on the sleeve. His short-cropped gray hair and strong jaw hinted at a life of discipline and duty. The man rolled toward the diner entrance, the sun glinting off the metallic frame of his chair. As he entered, the bell above the door chimed. The bikers turned to look. One of them smirked. "Well, look what we've got here. Top Gun's got training wheels," another joked, causing the others to burst out laughing. The man ignored the comments and moved to a corner booth near the window. He didn't look angry, just calm. He placed his order with the waitress, a kind young woman named Lucy, who whispered an apology for the men's behavior. "Don't worry," he replied softly. "I've heard worse at 30,000 feet." The bikers' laughter continued. "Hey, you lose your wings, flyboy?" one shouted. "Or did gravity just win?" The pilot didn't respond. He simply stirred his coffee, eyes steady, as if he were somewhere else entirely, perhaps above the clouds where he once belonged. Lucy returned with his breakfast, her face flushed with embarrassment for the way the bikers were acting. "You don't deserve this," she said quietly. He smiled and replied, "Respect is earned, not demanded. They'll learn." A few moments later, the sound of engines roared outside. Not motorcycles, but several military vehicles pulling up to the diner. The bikers turned to look out the window, confused. Then the door opened, and in walked 35 men and women in full U.S. Air Force uniform. The air in the diner shifted instantly. The waitress froze mid-step. The bikers fell silent, their smirks fading. The officer leading the group spotted the man in the wheelchair and immediately stood at attention. "Captain Reynolds, sir," he said loudly, saluting. "It's an honor to see you again." Every Air Force member in the diner followed suit, saluting the man in the wheelchair with unwavering respect. Lucy's eyes widened, realizing the quiet man she'd served was not just a veteran, he was a decorated F-16 fighter pilot. A hero. The bikers looked down, shame spreading across their faces as they understood who they had mocked. The once loud diner was now silent, filled only with the sound of boots clicking and hearts heavy with realization. Captain Reynolds nodded humbly. "At ease," he said softly. His calm voice carried authority and grace, proof that true strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it simply rolls in quietly and lets its legacy speak for itself. Once rowdy bikers now sat stiffly, their laughter replaced by regret. The man in the wheelchair, Captain Jack Reynolds, looked up at the line of uniformed Air Force members still standing before him. "Sit down, all of you," he said with a modest smile. "You don't have to do that." The lead officer, a tall man named Lieutenant Harris, shook his head. "Sir, you earned it. After what you did in Kabul, it's the least we can do." His voice carried a mixture of admiration and emotion. The waitress, Lucy, stepped back, stunned by what she was hearing. She had served hundreds of travelers over the years, but never a man whose courage filled a room like this. Captain Reynolds took a slow sip of his coffee and said, "That was a long time ago. I did what any pilot would have done." But Harris insisted. "You flew your jet into enemy fire to protect a civilian convoy. You lost your plane, your legs, but saved over 50 lives, including mine." The diner fell completely silent again. Every biker could feel the weight of those words. The same man they had mocked minutes earlier was the reason men like Harris were alive. One biker, the loudest of the group, finally spoke, his voice cracking slightly. "Sir, we didn't know. We were just joking around. Didn't mean no harm." Reynolds looked at him steadily. "I know you didn't, but maybe next time, think before you laugh at someone. Not all battles are fought standing up." Those words hit harder than any punch. The bikers lowered their eyes, shame written all over their faces. Lucy, moved to tears, quietly placed a fresh plate of pancakes before the captain. "This one's on the house, sir," she whispered. Reynolds smiled warmly. "Then the next one's on me," he said, turning to the bikers. "Breakfast for everyone, my treat." The bikers looked stunned. They didn't understand how the man they insulted could still show them kindness. The Air Force men exchanged proud glances. That was the kind of leader Reynolds had always been. Strong, humble, and forgiving. After a moment, Harris clapped his old commander on the shoulder. "Sir, we're having a reunion at the base this weekend. You should come by. The team's been wanting to see you." Reynolds nodded. "Wouldn't miss it." As he wheeled himself toward the door, the bikers stood up. One of them, eyes red, stepped forward. "Captain, sir, we'd like to escort you. Least we can do." Reynolds chuckled softly. "You've got yourself a deal, son." The group followed him outside, where the American flag waved gently above the diner. The bikers started their engines, forming a respectful line behind his truck. Lucy watched from the window as the convoy rolled out, military vehicles and motorcycles together, united by honor and humility. She whispered to herself, "Heroes don't need legs to stand tall." And as the sun climbed higher over the Texas sky, the sound of engines faded into the distance, carrying with it a powerful reminder: respect is the highest rank of all.